Hello everybody and welcome, long old lasty poos, to the final round of GRC Season 13 here in Manfield in New Zealand. Spot the Hobbit. My name is Simon Smith and I'll be bringing you tonight's coverage of the showdown finale, brought to you live on simrace.tv. As ever, race admin and cameraman extraordinaire Simon Merhuish will be joining us for the action and providing you all of your candy for the pixelated eyes that we have, and I'll just be shouting and screaming all the way for it. So tonight we've got two championships to decide. The Division 1 championship sees 45 points between Martin Palm and Borna Spoljaric, both for Torrent Motorsport Sim and Skins, and with Spoljaric on pole position for today. He's going to put as best as he can to try and sort it out and see what happens after the dramatic conclusion to last week's round 7 race, which saw Borna Spoljaric eliminated from the final round and really wedge a gap between the pair of them. For Division 2, it's even closer, with just 31 points between Paul Joseph and Cameron Brewster for Union Motorsport International and the Sixth Axis Racing teams, to see how they got on there. A smaller field here this evening for the final round. It looks as though we're going to have about 15 drivers on the track, so that's actually going to hurt the likes of Spoljaric and Brewster, because there's less chance of them to slip further down the order and score nil points. So we shall soon see exactly what happens when the flag drops and the old didgeridoo stops. Of course, you can Facebook me or tweet me at Turimum, and the usual old 3-round raceroo is going to be taking place. 15 laps apiece. Love this circuit, such a great flow to it. Lots of banked curves as well here. I remember running this in, I think it was season 8 in GRC, and in the old sprint race followed by feature race scenario that we used to have up until very recently. I remember running 4th at one point in the feature race. Dizzy heights. I had a nosebleed, had to pit. So yeah, it all went rather well.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
However, the amount of people that have been losing it down into the banked hairpin in the middle of the circuit, and of course running wide in the final corner, as I have done so myself, have been quite large. So the weights then, 60 kilograms, the maximum there for Martin Palm after his lockout last time round. Spoljaric's got 29 kilos, Bracalo 20, Rando Muru 16, Thomas Aniuis 8, as has Reinu Muru. Hans Peter Mead's got 6. Then in the Division 2 championship, Paul Joseph 55, Cameron Brewster 53, Lee McLaughlin 45, and Miles Dixon 9 kilos. As we're off on the way on the formation lap, led round by Borna Spoljaric for Torrent Motorsport and Skins. So yes, Random Murray's alongside for TTFR. Martin Palm 3rd for Torrent Motorsport Sim and Skins. He knows what he's got to do to keep it all together. Roger Bacalo 4 for Torrent Motorsport Mobile. Reinu Muru 5th in the second of the TTFRs. Team boss not here this evening, who is suffering with some computer problems. Andreas Stankiewicz 6th for Torrent Motorsport Osiris. Then 7th will be Hans Peter Mead, top of the online motorsport.com cars, ahead of Art Cart's Thomas Aniuis, looking for a cleaner outing. Paul Joseph 9th, top Division 2 driver for Union Motorsports International. These all help because you get points for pole. 10th for Cameron Brewster for the Sixth Axis Racing, so those two side by side. Mirko Wenzel 11 for Online Motorsports, good to see him back. Then Lee McLaughlin will be 12th for the TSA Racing Dice team, ahead of teammate Ben Walters in 13th position. Wipke Hoekstra and Miles Dixon both in trouble with steering wheel problems in qualifying. They had to leave the qualification session, come back in again, and Miles Dixon is still in the pits, so Hoekstra is going to be 14th on the grid, and with Miles Dixon starting from pit lane. Not the most ideal thing, but there's points to be had, and I think the Team Core drivers are also suffering from some computer problems, and that's why they're not here this evening. So unfortunately the Iron Brew duo are able to contest out their battle for 3rd overall in the Division 2 standings. can see the field taking advantage of the fact that it's a small one and really lighting up their tyres right towards the end here. Bit of a banked start really does favour the odd numbers because you aren't necessarily given too much of an advantage actually by starting first or third, but you get the inside run around the tight corner into turn one. And let's see, the final round is off and away. Spoljac's away well, Muru's away just as well. Look at Bracalo, he's got an absolutely almighty start. He's going to dive down the outside. Great stuff for him as they all come sliding down. It looks like Spoljac's got it from Bracalo, then Muru's going to go up the inside into second. They're all kind of filtering around. Palm down to 4. Everyone's got safely round the first turn. Looked like Ben Walters ran out a little bit wide, but he kept it all together. And Bracalo now back down to 4th as he gets bailed out by Martin Palm. Going round the outside, showing that he really wants to take this by the bull, by the horns. He was fastest in the practice sessions actually, so his qualification was a little bit of a disappointment. As someone's off, that's McLaughlin off in 14th position, just rejoining back in now. Dixon is away for Cookie Monster as the field stream down the back straight, and it's Spoljac leading from Randy Muru, then Martin Palm, Bracalo, Rainu Muru, Stankiewicz, Hans-Peter Mead, then Aeneas Joseph. Wenzel's got round Brewster, so that's a change there. Hoekstra's up to 12, ahead of both the TSA Dice drivers. Miles Dixon in 15th, the final runner currently at the moment. Spoljac locking up his brakes heavily as they come in. You can really take a nosedive through as Hans-Peter Mead there completely off the racing line into the final corner. But yes, you can have a real stab down into the last couple of corners. I've done it myself. It's a little bit of a, you have to make sure the other person's committed, as here comes Bracalo on Palm down into turn one. Palm trying to hold on around the outside. You can be run out dry quite easily there, but Bracalo's got it. Palm's got a much better exit though as they come round to the next little flick-flack of corners, and let's see who's going to pull in front. It will be Bracalo. Palm, he knows that he just has to basically keep it all clean and don't be a filthy little moose, otherwise he will be down as Stankiewicz comes steaming through into 5th position, bouncing through past Rainu Muru, who then puts 2 wheels on the grass. That's going to allow Hans-Peter Mead to have half a go. And it is very much a cause and effect round here because one corner leads very slyly into the next on lap 2 of 15. Peter Mead going down the outside. It won't work there, but if you can tuck back in, you can use a slipstream and have a right little slingshot down into the final right hand curve. Spoljac pulling well clear of Muru, and those two clear of Bracalo, Palm, Stankiewicz, Muru and Hans-Peter Mead having half a look, but Muru keeps it going around the outside. Thomas and Aeneas, all 4 wheels locked there into the final curve. That's allowed him to be very, very late out of the entry, the exit of the final corner. Marco Wenzel now in 9th position. He's got round Paul Joseph having half a look. Hans-Peter Mead having half a steam. Both the online motorsport.com cars having a real good run down into turn one. Neither could make anything work. The TSA Dice car still very much nose to tail as well. Bonus Spoljac then fastest lap as we round lap 3. He's got 1.1 seconds clear of Randy, and Bracalo is not really pulling away from Palm, but he's keeping the position. Stankiewicz joins onto the back. Rainer Mirror's got his mirrors full of Hans-Peter Mead, and Aeneas has really got Wenzel right up behind there. Mirko, who's done a kind of race one, not race one, race one, not race one this season, fancying that he doesn't want to leave the limelight all to Hans-Peter Mead, but he's going to struggle to get through there. Joseph and Brewster not too far behind, the rest kind of filtering through. The TSA Dice guys of Walters and McLaughlin very close too, as the field continue to cross the line and complete lap 3 of 15. Very, very fast times. There's once again a 1:10.608, a whole tenth exactly. And he knows how much the fastest lap is worth. You get 3 points for a fastest lap, and that is all due good stuff to eat into the advantage. So yeah, it's all going to help, and you can also get pole position, so if you keep those combined, that's 6 bonus points that will take him up the order and getting that a little bit closer, biting on the rear of Martin Palm's championship lead currently as the clock continues to tick down. And Aeneas has got Wenzel all over the back of him. It's the closest duo for 8th and 9th, or is it? Because someone, Ben Walters through on McLaughlin for 13 and 14. Right at the back of the field, but it doesn't matter, it's still scrapping around for position, and McLaughlin fancying half a run back through again. Both these drivers have done very well in their first full season of GRC. Oh, but that's not is that McLaughlin going right the way around the outside? My goodness me, running rings round Ben Walters. Good move there by Lee, and he's up the field and back into 13th position, which Ben cheekily took from him down into the banked hairpin anyway. So all good stuff going on there towards the rear of the field. They're 14 seconds off the lead. Neither have weight penalties, but showing just exactly how competitive everyone is, as Hans-Peter Mead in 7 has another little look at Reino Muru, but that wrong foot's him down into turn 1, and that won't really help as the field continue to stream around again on lap 5 of 15. And yeah, Borna Spoljaric clear by 2.1 seconds. Muru of the Randu variety has got Ilja Bacalo, Martin Palm behind him. Stanky Vicious just keeping ticking in towing. But yeah, he's just about clinging on, and then you've got a small gap back to the other Muru, who similarly has got Hans-Peter Mead all over him. And now that Thomas Ineos and Mirko Wenzel have separated themselves slightly, they're slightly reeling in those guys up ahead, as Paul Joseph is now slowly being reeled in by Cameron Brewster as well. Very much a circuit of momentum, you'll find, as you continue to reel off the laps. You get into a specific rhythm, and if you can just hit it alright, nicely in the sweet spot, it will help you dramatically. All about confidence. Field across the line to start lap 6. Randu Muru starting to bottleneck up Ricciardo with 3 attempts in that last sector, which won't help at all. But no one really feeling dramatically close. Although Ineos having a slightly poor exit out of turn 1 in 8. He's now got Mirko Wenzel once again back on him. You can see there Ineos very, very violent on the brakes and on his tyres. And we saw this causing problems beforehand. And you can see different lines into the hairpin. That could very well allow Mirko Wenzel half a little snifter going to the final turn. Not this one, you use this one to set it up and slingshot you round if you're able to stay within the draft air. Wenzel locks up this time, so it's all just kind of pendulum swinging backwards and forwards. As the field continue round again, Cameron Brewster actually closing onto the back of Paul Joseph. Paul Joseph, the most experienced GRCer. Battled with him many a time. He is a wily old figure, and he'll choose his places carefully to make sure that he gets his car into the best position. Someone running out wide in the background there. It's Whoopke Hoekstra, and that's going to allow Lee McLaughlin to have a go. For 12 and 13, McLaughlin goes to the outside, Whoopke Hoekstra goes to the inside. Cookie Racing versus TSA Dyson Lee once again favouring round the outside. Good move. What can Whoopke do to hold him off? Side by side, the force is strong with the Cookie as he comes through and retakes his 12th position. What was a thingy? Oh, and that's him spinning really off again there. Very different lines, and McLaughlin's going to go and take a bite from the Cookie. Way out wide, not even in the biscuit tin there, I'm afraid, for Whoopke as he comes back through. And zip, sadly, as my cameraman said, that is how the Cookie crumbles. Mirko Wenzel's been off the track as he slipped down to 11th position. I know of a game of a biscuit, and it's well, it normally involves a circle and a couple of rugbymen. We won't do that right here. And yeah, he just caught it on the final braking phase into the banked hairpin. Drops him behind Paul Joseph and Cameron Brewster, and he's fancily straight to look back through on Cameron. It's a battle for 9, 10 and 11 starts to come alive. Everyone else still very much in formation as they come through, and let's see what Mirko fancies doing. He's already taken these two once, and he's steaming down the inside. Brewster keeps going around the outside trying to hold the position. He's going to cut him right across again, as he's he's allowed to do. And that will work quite nicely. Mirko's got to go again. Big heavy locking up by Paul Joseph. Hans-Peter Mead is round Thomas Ineos as well for 7th and 8th position, as Ineos sorry, no, they were already that way, weren't they? Ineos is onto the back of Hans-Peter Mead, and they're having a little battle as the field continue to start to separate out slightly. With Spoljaric 2.6 clear of Randu Muru. Ilja Bacalo is 1.3 further back. Palm very much still fixed on his rear, but not really challenging. Stankiewicz on his own in P5 ahead of Reino Muru, Hans-Peter Mead, Thomas Ineos, who's caught the pair of them. And they're all just locking up so heavily into that final corner. Joseph then clear of Brewster, Wenzel in recovery mode. Lee McLaughlin ahead now of the Cookie Monster. So yeah, it's gone all a bit soggy biscuit for poor old Whoopkie. He said that beforehand he was having real problems with his steering wheel. I wonder if it's giving him some jip as he goes straight to the outside to have a go at the TSA Dice Man. Around the outside, that would be a brave move. Is he going to try and do the old switcheroo? No, Lee's got it covered. He'll just push to the outside. And this is good, mature defensive driving here by Lee, and some good overtaking earlier on. Ben Walters must have fallen off the road slightly because he's 13 seconds back. And look at Whoopkie, that smiley old front side pod looks like it wanted to take a massive bite out of the rear. Lee McLaughlin, as much fun as it is to go and scream "bite me," I don't think they really want to. Thomas Ineos round Hans-Peter Mead for 7th and 8th position. Let's just see where that one happened. Down into turn 1, that one happened. Ineos down the inside. Hans-Peter Mead trying a different approach out of the final corner, but Ineos I think is just about clear as they cross the line for 7th and 8th position. 12.5 seconds off the leader, 3 attempts between them. No, Hans-Peter Mead's not done yet, has half a look under braking. So if anything, actually now dropped him ever so slightly further back. So that's unfortunate there for him. Little 15 cars running on lap 10 of 15 into the final third. Final furlong, should she fancy it. And still, Bornas Boliaric now 3 seconds clear of Rangio Muro. Riccardo in third. He's got Palm still shadowing him round, just 6 tenths behind in fourth. Palm knows exactly where he needs to be in order to try and minimise the drama that's going on. He just needs to maybe even drop back slightly and just do a banzai last minute lap to try and yoink back the fastest lap. Change of position going on as Wenzel dives through on Brewster for 10 and 11 now. Down into the second last corner. Good move there by Wenzel. Steaming down the inside. Let's see if he can hold it, because you can do a switchback attack down into the final corner, but I don't think Brewster is close enough to have a go, and if Wenzel just holds it for the time being, which he does indeed, that'll do nicely. Joseph 2 wheels over the curb, that will unsettle his car on the exit. You can see McLaughlin and Hoekstra just kicking around in the background, not too far behind. I certainly feel that Wenzel will be up onto Joseph, well, by now, to be fair, as he comes through. Young Line Motorsport cars providing us the action here in this very sedate round 1, which has actually seen a extremely good and high standard of driving. No bashes, no dramas. Of course, it all goes horribly wrong normally in round 3, so we'll soon see what happens, but I think a lot of people are just aware that they just want a nice, good fun of GRC racing. Interesting to see that the Lexuses are all 7, 8 and 9. 8, 9 and 10 all together. As Wenzel once again has a look there down into the second last corner on Paul Joseph. Obviously feels that that is one of his key points to have a go. Runs out very high onto the final corner, onto the final straight. That pretty much was my line actually, because you can just floor it and run right out, and it's not so bad. As he sizes up, the Union Motorsport International driver, missing his teammates. We have a bass with a wee bit of computer dramas as well. It seems to have affected everyone. I feel it's Olympic fever. Here comes Wenzel. Into the slipstream, pulls out, having a dive down the inside. Paul Joseph may not have any of that. He's clinging on around the outside. A little bit of leaning, somehow managed to get away with all of that. And Paul Joseph keeps hold of the 9th position now. It's another car that he can keep between himself and Brewster for the Division 2 Championships. Where's Cameron going? Come back onto the racing line. It's just about kept it together. Wenzel stalking though Paul Joseph and practically nudging him out of the final banked hairpin before we get onto the 2 about 90-degree turns for the last 2 corners. What's he going to do down here? He's taking another step down the inside. This is where he had Brewster before, and he's done exactly the same. Joseph taking the high line though. Side by side they go down into the final corner. Joseph does not have the optimal line, but you do have grip potentially around the outside if you can hold it there. Wenzel's going to take a step down into the inside. I think Paul's just going to let him have it. No, he's not. Look at that. Holds on around the outside. Supreme grip and traction out of the final corner. Lee McLaughlin spins in the background and has lost out to the Cookie Monster, Whoopke himself. Wenzel has another go though, down at Joseph into the first corner. Paul Joseph clinging on round the outside. Great stuff. He knows exactly where to put his car. This is where all of the skill and experience comes into it. Once again, Mirko not quite sure where to stick the car. Brewster just hoping for there to be a drama so that he can pick up pieces afterwards, but there's not been really any to pick up at all as Miles Dixon takes a quick tour across the grass on the final curve. Down in P15, still going though and still unlapped, doing very well. The top two covered now by 4 seconds as Spoljaric continues to pull away. Bricado still got Palm just a second behind him. Stankiewicz, Muru, Aneus, Mead, then Joseph. Wenzel once again taking a peekaboo out to see what he can do down to the final curve. This is much further alongside than what he was before. In fact, he's got the car through before he gets to that turn. Joseph backs out of it, hopes Wenzel's overcommitted, which it looks like he has to an extent. 2 wheels over the curb and onto the grass. That will unsettle the car. Joseph now, what can he do down into turn 1 to have half a go as we start lap 14 of 15? He's got nothing really to go for down into turn 1, and the problem is that Cameron Brewster just sits there thinking, I'll have me some of that. In fact, if he wants to eat it all up, he might as well join Cookie Monster Racing. As they continue their running round, still 1 and a bit laps left to go. The rest of the field pretty much spread out as it were, so now that Wenzel is through on Joseph now under attack by Cameron Brewster over 9th and, or what was 9th, now 10th and 11th position. This is the closest Brewster's been all evening. But he's not fancying a stab. It could very well have half ran its course. As the leaders now start their final lap. Spoljaric 3.7 seconds clear of Randy Murray. Riccardo has got enough of a gap clear from Martin Palm that he shouldn't feel challenged unless he makes a mistake of sorts. And Brewster not close enough to Joseph down to turn 1 to have a go, so that's kind of everyone sorted out, barring faux pas and slip-ups, of which we're used to having quite a few. And everyone on the lead lap as well, so good stuff by the field. Spoljaric though, rounding the second last turn, not easing up. He wants to make sure that he can be in the best possible situation so that if that fastest lap for whatever reason for Palm is able to be pulled out of the bag, he has a riposte at all times, because it's bonus points plus the gap between first to fourth. Palm having a couple of people in there, a bit more than what he'd like, but Bonus Spoljaric, ring 1 for him at Manfield, and that is exactly what he needed to do. He's laying the cards on the line. Fastest lap, race win, pole position, so he becomes fastest eater of GRC this evening. Randy Muro an excellent second there for TTFI. Ultra Bricalo third for Tom Motorsport Mobile. With that TMO interference potentially affect what the championship's end order will be, with the Simmons Skins of Martin Palm finishing in 4. Stankiewicz, a bit of a lonely 5th there for Tom Motorsport Osiris, but very competitive nonetheless. Reinu Muro in 6th for TTFR. Art Kart 7, Thomas Aneus, much better drive from him as he continues to mature and get used to the mod. 8th for Hans-Peter Mead, Mirko Wenzel teammate in 9th despite being 9 seconds almost exactly behind. Paul Joseph 10 did beat home Cameron Brewster by 9/10 of a second. Whoopke Hoekstra was 12th after all that. Lee McLaughlin 13th after that awkward spin on the, or half spin in the last turn. Ben Walters 14th, he also spun. Miles Dixon 15th after starting from the pit lane, unable to capitalise on any opportunities as none were thrown his way. However, that is a juicy set of points in the bag, and that will surely push him slightly up the Division 2 order, considering he was just 4 points ahead or behind Mark Voucher in 9th and just 12 behind Paul Gardner, actually in 8th, who's not here this evening. And James Ross, who again has got computer problems, is only a further 20 points ahead. So this is all games to play for. Positions much sought after too. So we will see. So the gap, 28 points now between Spogliaric and Palm. I wish that was like my waist size going down. That would be awesome. So let's see what's going on there. Martin Palm, so frustrating with 60 kilograms. Everyone just drives off down the straights. I'm like that when we do the running. Whenever I run, I just see everyone just steam off into the distance. Even someone in the Zimmer frames like Usain Bolt. So, if you fancy getting in on the action, don't forget to pop over to rfgrc.co.uk. We've got endurance races and all of that shenanigans, plus these old tin tops and the odd special race going on as well. Not for special people, although we aren't discriminate. But come along, find yourself. So, we believe that that may now have actually decided the Division 2 Championship. Without any high climber points or anything sorted out. James Kirk has just been tweeting me, saying that he's sure that if Paul was to come home last in the next 2 events, he'd still have enough points to win. Well, let's soon find out. Does worry me that my boss's boss is following me on Twitter. Does anyone else have fit problems like that? So wrong. What else have I been up to? Since this will be the last update that you'll get on my social and personal life for a little while to fill up the old times going on. I'm being a wedding photographer on Saturday. That'll be fun. Last time I'd done that, I'd had a few drinks beforehand for Dutch Courage, spent about a month trying to redo them on Photoshop so it looked like I'd actually took them all in straight lines. I had to kind of remove certain visual prompts like shoes. Everyone's like, oh, you didn't take photos of my shoes. It's like, no, because if you'd done that you could see how wonky the picture was to begin with. Never a good look. Never a good look. Aside from that, what else is going on? I've been given a How to Learn Japanese book again. We'll soon see how that one goes. Konnichiwa!
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
The grid reforms for the finishing order of race 1. Let's see what happens on here as the 15 strong field always tails off towards the end, sadly. Never mind. Spogliarek leads us round on the formation lap for that one. TTF's Randy Murray will be alongside. Then Ilge Bricado once again third. Well, not once again, he's starting third after leapfrogging Palm last time out. Stankiewicz will be fifth on the grid ahead of Rainer Muru. Then Thomas Ineos for Art Car ahead of the top Lexus of Mirko Wenzel. And it looks as though Hans-Peter Mead has not come back to the server. I saw him leave, but he's lost out there unfortunately. Paul Joseph, 9th in the second and only other Lexi. Brewster 10 for TSA. Key Hoekstra 11 for Cookie Monster. Then the TSA Dice drivers of Liam McLaughlin and Ben Walters, and Miles Dixon makes the start this time. And what is a suspiciously Marussia HRT-esque rear of the grid 2x2. As the field sorts themselves out, pops around to the grid. Dixon now just lining itself up, and here we go for the second time of asking then here today who's going to be the man that pops home. Spogliarek away very well for round 2 start once again. There, Bricado looking quite menacing, but is chopped off by Randy Muru, who saw that one coming. Palm, therefore, he's going to move up into third potentially if he can stick round the outside. And Stankiewicz fancies Arthur nose through and is up into 4. And Bricado in trouble as a couple of drivers run out wide. And Neuis there in a bit of trouble, drops down to 9. Ben Walters up to 10. Great start from him. Liam McLaughlin down to the rear of the field, as was Brewster as well in a bit of trouble. It's a couple of the drivers towards the field rear. They're running out a bit wide. It's getting a wee bit leery as they come down into the tight chicane. And Liam McLaughlin and Whoopie Hoekstra, they're bashing a little bit. And McLaughlin there, who went in a bit hot, come out the worst of that. But it's Spogliarek leading from Randy Muru. Palm up to third. That was crucial for him. Then Stankiewicz, Bricalo, Muru, Wenzel, Aneus, Joseph, Walters, Dixon, Brewster, Hoekstra and McLaughlin. And that's worked out not so well there for Brewster. And quite nicely for Palm. As the field steam on through into the last corner. And you can see there, Randy Muru, as it was last time out, starting to provide a little bit of a corkscrew action. They cross the line to complete lap 1, start lap 2, and Muru there looking a little bit under pressure by Palm, who's also under pressure by Stankiewicz, and I think he feels as he's going to take a steam through. Yes, he is. He leans on Muru, who goes out to the edge. Can Martin Palm take second position? Indeed he can, steaming through there. He needed to get another one between himself and Stankiewicz is off! Stankiewicz is off! Is he going to hit the barrier? Yes, he does! Look at that! He's proper wedged himself! Oh dear, that's game over for you, Andreas, who once again falls foul of another incident that involves him as Brewster steams through on Dixon for what is now 9th and 10th positions. Real troubles there going on. Problems further back. McLaughlin is missing his front bumper, the front tyre bit of his car, going around in 13th position, so something's gone horribly wrong there. But Andreas Stankiewicz, once again, wrong time, wrong place, just peeling off wide and hitting the barrier. Out he goes, And that is a real shame there for the Torrent Motorsport Osiris driver. So Spoljaric now with a 1.1 second advantage over Palm. Randu Muru now up to third. Bracalo is 4, Muru 5, Wenzel 6. Then a gap back to Ineos in 7 as Spoljaric does the fastest lap of the race. Paul Joseph now in 8, Brewster 9, Hoekstra is up to 10 as he's side by side with Cookie Monster teammate Miles Dixon. Pulls across a little bit too early there, Dixon having to get out of that one unfortunately. But the Cookie Monsters swap around for what could be their first top 10 positions for, well, I think Dixon may have got one actually at Norris Ring. But yeah, Walters and McLaughlin still going at the back of the field. But I think they may have had a coming together because they're both a wee bit behind the rest of the field, sadly. So a little bit of teammate fighting going on, not helping out anyone at all. As the field now very much spready outy. Spoljaric now 1.2 clear of Palm. Palm not really gonna have to he's not really pulling away particularly from Randu Muru, and Bracalo's there as well, and if anything I think Bracalo may be the feisty one of the two as he has another little look out. Randu Muru 16 kilos of weight, Bracalo 20, Palm 60 as Randu Muru runs out 2 wheels on the grass. That won't help. Mirko Wenzel's all over the back of Randu Muru as well, so I don't think that one will be done yet. As Brewster's not really pulling away from the Cookie Monster guys either, so there's battles to be had once again. There's Wenzel there right onto the back of Randu Muru. Muru having a torrid time round the tight banked hairpin in the middle of the track. It is a tricky one to do because you can go in a little bit hot and it will really send you completely offline, whereas you can survive it around these last couple of corners, but you really can't into that hairpin, as we saw with Stanky Vicious on false wheel on the wrong bit and you're out. I remember when I drove there, one of my teammates, I think it was Gary Gray, got wedged on the outside or something, was stuck there forever. As here comes Bracalo on Randu Muru. And Muru, look at how defensive he's having to go. He didn't want to push across, but he knows he's going to have to because you're really disadvantaged on the inside line. Has he gone in a bit deep? No, he's kept it all together, using the banking perfectly. And the other Muru under attack from Wenzel as well. So both of our Estonian friends in real difficulty to keep their positions for the time being. This is playing perfectly into the hands of Martin Palm. Whilst those two are busy fighting each other, they're not looking at the problem ahead. And it's because Palm is technically slowing them down because he's got such a heifer on board. Change of position going on. Oh, look at Dixon. He's in the barriers in 13th position. Is that him out? Once again, it's down at the tight... Oh, well, not the tight one. It's... Oh, yeah, that's exactly where Stanky Vicious went off, actually, in that little twisty kink. Easily done. So we're down to 12 now as the TSA Dice guys is knock on the top 10 position. Whoopke Hoekstra then into 10th by default, keeping it for the Cookie Monster Racing. Palm now really under pressure because Muru was able to have a clear lap because Bracalo looks a bit washy out at sea around some of his apexes as they come around to start lap 6 of 15. You can see immediately when he doesn't have to think about what's going on behind him, he is straight onto the back of Palm, and there's contact there as he just hits the back and taps Martin Palm and says, "I'm here, mate." Uh-oh, was not good. Randu Muru's basically now got Wenzel and Thomas Aniuis with him as well, so we're all going a little bit trio by trio up front. But Spoljaric continues to lead the way by exactly a second. Martin Palm actually... Oh, look at the way how he has to throw the car in. He's practically four-wheel drifting around that corner as Bracalo once again messing up the exit from that corner, and it's going to just drop him slightly off, so it allows Randu Muru to focus entirely his intentions on the car in front, and that's when Palm signals trouble. Wenzel's got to worry because he's got a Neos on him as well. Let's see what happens down into this next corner. What's Muru going to do? Oh, he fancied a look on the inside. Palm had it well and truly covered there. Immediately loses 3 tenths to Spoljaric this lap. As they cross the line, it looks like it could well be a smidgy bit more. Yeah, half a second over the course of a lap, because now Palm is having to think defensive. You just said on the straights, they're eating into me. I can't pull away, and it's the problem with the weight as Palm makes a tiny mistake on the curbs. But it's all that's going to have to take, because it is really milliseconds that are the problem here as the field continue to spiel round. Looks like Lee McLaughlin's having a go at Ben Walters for 11th and 12th positions. The wooden spoon, who's going to get it? Lee McLaughlin's already met someone's bumper once. He's in very, very tight. Got the corner, good move there, back past teammate Ben Walters. That one will run and run. Anuis is through on Wenzel for 6 and 7, down into the tight hairpin as well. Has he got a good enough exit? Oh, he's flashing his lights. Is that to say sorry and he's going to let him through, or is he just going to chop him off? No, he chops him off! A little bit of mixed signals there, Thomas, I'm afraid. Oh, there we go. Is he running out wide to let him through? No. My goodness me. If he was a lady, I'd call him a dick tease as he came out of the next corner, because he's proper laying it out there for everyone. Ranger Muru having a go at Palm. Doing, and that just puts you straight onto the problem of having Roger Bracalo all over the back. Bracalo close enough to have a stab potentially through down into the turn of 1 variety, but that's not happened at all. Ben Walters back past Lee McLaughlin as well, as those two are swapping positions like mad towards the rear of the field. But Randy Muru all over the back of Palm, and this is championship deciding stuff potentially as they filter through. Walters holds McLaughlin at the back of the field down into 1 just for the time being, but that one I think could well run and run, as Randy Muru is having a run at Martin Palm. Palm having to go so defensive. He's pulled across at the last minute to take his racing line. That'll do for now. You really have to round that corner, because otherwise Randy would have a field day steaming it through on the inside. Takes the higher line to try and get the best effect of the banking. Try and use his weight to his advantage to slingshot round. Cuts across in a slightly diagonal braking area. And that will do for now. Muru cannot do anything for the time being. Spogliarek now up to 2.3 seconds. As soon as the battles begin, you start to fall slightly away from the pace, and Palm holds it there from Muru and Bracalo. Reinu Muru has still got Thomas Aneois behind him. Wenzel's dropped ever so slightly back. Paul Joseph is in 8th. He's now got Cameron Brewster for company again in 9th position. Ricky Hoekstra is in 10. Ben Walters still ahead of Lee McLaughlin at the moment in that battered TSA Dice car. Going for him was once again Muru onto the back, and there's a change of position going on with Wenzel and Aneois. Aneois, they're making a mistake into the hairpin. Wenzel goes round the outside, takes 6th position. That will do for the time being. The art cart driver down to 7 for the now. Let's see what Muru is up to once again. Every corner on these last 3 at the end of each lap is a potential stab that he can take. Look at Bracalo taking an extreme inside line there. Almost trying to put the frighteners on Muru, and the frighteners has pushed him right up onto the back of Palm. Palm goes extremely defensive as they come down the home straight. He needs to keep the inside line down into turn 1. He does so indeed for now. Muru holds the line. Lee McLaughlin's back past Ben Walters for 11th and 12th off your screens. But Palm, he's clinging on. It's like the last corner of every elimination round of an elimination event and some kind of bike racing. I've forgotten what the actual name of it called. Oh, Palm! Ever so slight nudge there from Muru, and it unsettled the car somehow, getting his arse all airy and out and about. Keeps it on the black stuff. That could have been a disaster. And is Bracalo going to go down the outside? Yes, he is. Can Muru do anything about it? Yes, he can. As they come out of the next corner, can he try and face off Bracalo and keep him stuck on the outside? Let's look at that. They're trying every which way to keep the car behind. Bracalo's going to have a double toe. This could get messy down into the last corner. Muru's having half a look. As they come out. And yes, the cameraman extraordinaire in my ears says I can see a wreck. I can see a train wreck potentially, as Joseph and Brewster are at it for 8th and 9th as well. But this is much closer for the time being. Who's that off the track? Ben Walters top position, facing the wrong way, spinning on the second last corner. That won't help his matters at all. That will allow McLaughlin well clear as Muru continues to harass on lap 11 of 15. Martin Palm. All it takes is one mistake, one little drama, one little flick of the wrist in the wrong direction. No, we're not talking about some kind of impromptu pregnancy by proxy. We're talking about who can take the GRC Season 13 Championship for Division 1. As Bracalo once again kicks out the dirt. Spoljaric serenely up front doing everything that he needs to do. 3.5 seconds clear, Palmer a wee bit wide. Doing the wall of death round the outside. Muru stalking him like some kind of filth on a stick as they cross the line. Again, Palmer to go defensive. Ben Walters has retired from the race. I think he's binned it down into turn 1. He's stopped and gone, and Muru's going round, and that's him off. Oh no, 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 no. Down the outside, pushed out so wide, off he goes. Bracalo gives him a little bit of a helping mush, and that is music, absolute music to Martin Palm's ears and eyes and every other feature that's going. And Muru, oh dearie me, valiant effort, still going in 4th ahead of his brother, but that is perfect for Palm, and this is just the kind of championship damage limitation that he needed, and it just helps him out a great deal. Aeneas in 6th position's got Wenzel all over the back of him for 7. That's a good little scrapperoo going on. Joseph and Brewster still very close. Just 11 runners, and McLaughlin the last of those currently at the moment, minus his front bumper. As Spoljaric starts lap 13, 4.2 clear. Is it going to be a bit more? Yeah, 4.3 now. Bracalo, 2.3 seconds back on Palm. This could be interesting, because depending how Bracalo and Muru then go to see if they want to try and get 2nd position back, could they accidentally put in a fastest lap that could challenge Palm? You never know. Wenzel diving through on Aeneas for 6th and 7th. Through he goes. Great move there. Last of the late breakers. All 4 wheels locked. That was a do or die effort. And he's left the door half open there for Aeneas to have a go back through. Not good wise move there from Mirko. And Aeneas doesn't need any more than at least an 1/8 of a sniff before he's got the whole line of coke up him, and he's squeezing through the position as he pushes Wenzel round the tight hairpin. Paul Joseph just a further 4 seconds back with Cameron Brewster not far behind. Wilkie Hoekstra 10, McLaughlin 11, and our 3 retirements, Walters, Dixon and Stankiewicz. Viciously, the barrier, vicious by nature. And that has really petted the field out now, unfortunately. Bracalo now just 1.9 behind Palm already. They cross the line to start the 2 laps to go mark, and it's down to 1.7. Potential last minute do or die from Ilja. Put it past him. He's certainly matured an awful lot over these last couple of seasons in GRC. Originally known a wee bit of a wild reputation, he's calmed it down somewhat over the time, and he's producing fantastic results. And those fantastic results, I believe, do include 4 wins this season, 8 podiums, 9 top 5s and 14 top 10s. So on course for 3rd in the championship anyway, and he's just solidified that because Reino Room is not here today. He has really been a force to be reckoned with, and he's a very worthy bronze medal position if we're going Olympic style-y. Still Spoljaric doing everything that he can as he starts his last lap. 3.8 clear he was in the last sector. Palm meeting in a 10th there. Obviously you can sense Bracalo coming in quick. Then we've got the 2 Murus, Wenzel now well clear of Aeneas by over 1.5 seconds. Paul Joseph, he's got a 2nd over Cameron Brewster. Hoekstra's a further 7 back, and then McLaughlin a further 8 back from that. So everyone looking pretty settled around the last lap. Of course, there's always the gift of the gods. It's not so much of a gift, a disconnection, a game freeze. I remember having a crucial game freeze once and it left me stuck there for 4 minutes before it came back. But I refused to leave because I was so angry at it. But it can happen. Hopefully not for Bonus Boliaric. I'll just have that last corner left to go, please. Out he comes. Another drive that is worthy of a champion. A defending champion at that. Bonus Boliaric takes the second victory of the evening by 3.5 seconds from Martin Palm. And he continues to do whatever he can do to eat into the championship lead of Palms. Third goes to Il Gibracale. Once again, it's the top 3 in the championship. Top 3 on the podium. Randu Muro ahead of Reinu Muro. Those brotherly loves still going at it strong. Mirko Benzel then in 6th ahead of Thomas and Lewis. They've met each other down at the turn 1 back gravel. In appreciation, Paul Joseph 8th, once again sealing his Division 2 championship victory. Well done, Paul Joseph, beating home Cameron Brewster once again by just half a second. Whoopke Hoekstra 10 and Lee McLaughlin grabs 11, and that's some very useful points there for him. Retirements Ben Walters, Miles Dixon and Andreas Stankiewicz all crashing out, although I think Ben Walters half gave up towards the end there. I think he had some problems with his car. So Paul Joseph then wins the Division 2 championship. Nice and fairly and squarely. The gap between Martin Palm and Bonus Boliaric now 20 points. There is still stuff to play for. For the Division 2 championships, Dave Robertson will potentially lose his third because that Lee McLaughlin has been busy piling in the points this evening. And that's going to be interesting for the bronze medal position. To see exactly what happened. Dave Robertson not here. Lee McLaughlin missed the first round. So they're actually going to have the same amount of races regardless. So yeah, just looking at the actual point standings, he would have been what, 3rd in Division 2, 4th in Division 2 there, so that's 17 points. Yeah, Lee McLaughlin has taken 3rd position and the bronze medal position for TSA Racing Dice in the Division 2 Championship. Well done, Lee. First time out in the bag as well, so well done. And as we come to the final round of GRC Season 13 here at Manfield, I'd like to thank all of our drivers that have taken part in a race so far in GRC Season 13. They are Carlo Williamson, Ryan Walker, Lucas Gabrielaskis, Oscar Hardwick, Mirko Wenzel, Mark Wrightson, Titus Buselis, Henry Virok, Kevin Buddy, Kyra Aziz, where did he go to? Andreas Stankiewicz, Thomas Anuis, Ihab Abbas, Randu Murren, Hans-Peter Mead, Reino Murren, Reino Rum, George Bacalo, Bonus Boliaric and Martin Palm, and our Division 2 lot of Paul Joseph, Cameron Brewster, Dave Robertson, Lee McLaughlin, Stuart Fleming, James Kirk, James Ross, Paul Gardner, Mark Voucher, Miles Dixon, Tyrone Frith, Norman Bruce, Marvin Amantz, Whoopke Hoekstra, Ben Walters, Barry Warden, Ritus Rains. A couple of stats for you before we came into this round. Martin Palm has the highest rank of points per race at 25.5, before today at least anyway. The lowest person is Lucas Gabrielaskis, averaging out at just 5.6 points per race over his 10 race stint. Now, most of them will have come from his single top 10 finish. Of course, we've got teams going on, and Torrent Motorsport Simon Skins has absolutely urinated all over the rest of the field, really, in Division 1, ahead of Torrent Motorsport Mobile. Team Estonia will be eclipsed by TTFR this afternoon, or this evening, as they'll swap positions for 3rd and 4th. Online Motorsports will be 5th, ahead of Torrent Motorsports Cyrus and Union Motorsports. Art Kart, Williamson GP, sorry. Intrepid Racing and English Racing Knights are your 11 teams there. And the 10 that are in Division 2, Sixth Axis Racing will win that because no team cores are here, unfortunately, this evening due to some dramas with the old PCs. So what was only a 6-point gap in what was an absolutely thrilling battle between the teams there. Team Core unfortunately losing out. Union Motorsports will be third, potentially, depending on how the Sixth Axis Racing dice do, because they've got 2 guys here this evening and there's only a single Paul Joseph, so there's potential for that to swap. TTFR a 5, Cookie Monster Racing a 6th in solid 6th position despite joining right at the end. Auto Blue Racing 7, Autosport Holland 8, PPR 9 for Barry Ward, and Intrepid Racing are 10th and final. Obviously as well, while we're doing thank yous, I'd like to thank SimRace.tv for as ever providing us with the fantastic tools and opportunities of taking part in doing this and bringing all this coverage to you. And of course, I'm never here alone, but you never hear from him. Simon Melhuish does a fantastic job as our race admin, our league admin, our broadcasting cameraman. If he was an octopus, there may be enough hands to keep up with it. There's an interesting fact. Did you know that the third right arm of an octopus is actually its penis? Don't shake that one. Do love Uber facts. I hope you've all been enjoying the Olympics. Haven't we done suspiciously well? Patriotic for a second. I thought we were going to be absolutely pants. I was like, we'll never do a Beijing. We're doing better. Better! Shocked. Stunned. I'm going to see the Paralympics actually. On, I think it's Friday the 7th. I'm going to see some athletics. People on bouncy springs doing all fantastic stuff. Does make me slightly ashamed of my Thunder Fires when I can see people who have not had the privileges in life that I have. Running, jumping, being able to do things I may have been able to do in a dream when I wasn't such a fat moose. No, it's been a good old show. Wish they hadn't wheeled out Paul McCartney. No one really needed that, did they? Hey, John! I thought he was going to keel over. Yeah, apart from that, all good in the world. So what's the magic number here this evening? Let's have a little goosey gander. Ah, it's 10! Good way to round off the season. The top 10 being reversed. Poor Lee McLaughlin.
Non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
To not be reversed around. Uh-oh. Guess who's in pole? Cookie Monster. Oh, whoopkie. I'm waiting for the abuse on Facebook afterwards where he will probably squeal 1,000 exclamation marks at me. Gotta love sim racing community. So for the final time of asking, GRC season 13, off on the formation at Whoopkie Hoekstra. Cookie Monster Racing leads us round. With starting alongside, not the first time he's been up here, Cameron Brewster, second on the grid with Sixth Axis Racing. Third for Paul Joseph, Union Motorsport International. Fourth, Thomas Aneus for Art Kart. ART Kart. Should really ask whether it's one or the other. OnlineMotorsport.com, Marco Wenzel in 5. Of course he is SimRace.tv's boss's team, so they have to do well, otherwise he gets spanked. Then the Murus in 6 and 7, TTFR. Reinu ahead of Randu. Ultra Bracano will be 8th, Torrent Motorsport Mobile. Ahead of the two Simonskins, TMO Guivers, Martin Palm. Ahead of Borna Spoljaric. This will be fireworks. Lee McLaughlin then 11 for TSA Racing Dice, ahead of Ben Walters 12. TSA Racing Dice, Miles Dixon in 13, Cookie Monster Racing 14, Andreas Stankiewicz coming along for one final run. And Hans-Peter Mead got his computer problems sorted out and has rejoined us for 15th position. He of course knows potentially that there is a good old bit of third overall in the championships for teams at stake for him here today, and that is why he is there, because they want the bronze position. Out one with the bronze, especially if you're in a tanning salon. The field slowly line themselves up on the grid. One final time. GRC Season 13 is just about gone. Go! And neither of the front two away particularly well. Look at Ineos there, coming right across Paul Joseph. That was ruder than a rude boy as they come screaming through. And Hoekstra, they're down to fourth, and he's being absolutely swamped as Brewster takes the lead. Ineos then to second, Reinu Muru third. Has everyone got through? One of the dice cars is on the grass. It's Ben Walters, he's rejoined in last position, but he's still going as the field stream through. But Brewster leads the way there from Ineos, Muru, Bracala up to 4, Hoekstra down to 5th from pole, and didn't go to plan there at all. Then Wenzel, Palm having a go at Randu Muru going around the outside. It's important for Palm to get someone between himself and Spoljaric just to try and help him confirm the position. So 20 points between them, but anything can happen around here. Joseph, Dixon, McLaughlin all going free abreast behind them as well as Wenzel under pressure from Spoljaric, and look at Spoljaric diving through as is Palm as well. They're all going left and centre. Wenzel just blocking people left, right and centre because he's got nowhere else to go as the field stream round. And Cameron Brewster, if he can just hold it on round this last corner, will have led a lap. He's got in very deep. Is he going to hold on around the outside? Yes, he is. Ineos has half a look, but hasn't got the acceleration out the straight. That's a point there, I believe, for leading a lap for Cameron Brewster, as he leads for Six Axis Racing. Ineos has in a go, but he's got Bacalo all over him. He's going to have a dive down into turn one. Is he going to get through? Yes, he is. Ineos goes down to third. Bacalo very slidey. Palm in 6th position, running off, and that's Stankiewicz off in the background. In what was 10th position, he's now in 15th and last. Never goes right for poor old Andreas Stankiewicz, because he's always spanked it and he's in a tank slapper somewhere. Who's that off? That's Bracalo in 2nd position. Is he going to go round? No, he's dropping down the order like a fly. And look at Bracalo, Palm. They're going past Thomas and Lewis. It's just been blocked. Hoekstra goes up to 3rd position for the Cookie Monster Racing team. Great stuff from the Cookies as they come up the position. And look at Lewis. He's going back through Palm, needing to really be a little bit submissive and careful, but he's off onto the grass. And look at Spoljaric, is he going to have half a go too? Because it's going to end up being 3 abreast as they come down to the next corner, and this is always round 3 where the drama happens, as Ineos goes last of the late breakers. Both the Simmons skins are through, and they're past, and there's contact between Bracalo and Muru behind there. Bracalo 2nd to 8th, and look at that, 5 cars all in a gaggle as they come through from 4 to 9. Or 8, sorry, as they come steaming through. Who's going to come out of that one? Spoljaric round the outside of Palm. Palm, is he round? No, he just about keeps it all together, and somehow Borna Spoljaric setting the fastest lap down on the bottom there of the screen. I don't know how that one happened. Bracalo then up to 6th, Muru down to 7, and he was pummeled down to 8. Brewster still leads from Randu Muru, but he's got in onto the grass out of the final. The little chicane there, not chicane, hairpin, sorry, and Bracalo runs out onto there as well. Reinu Muru then takes over. Look at Hoekstra, look at Spoljaric, 4 wheels nearly on the grass, as Brewster, losing momentum down the back straight, is about to be swallowed up. Spoljaric takes a bite out of Mr. Cookie, who runs out wide himself. Brewster's then going to have half a go back through again. These two Division 2 drivers battling over position. Now Palm's going to find himself slap bang in the middle of it. 3 wide into the final corner. Palm chops Brewster quite decisively and says, thank you, I'll have that. Brewster backs out. Cookie trying to go around the outside. Mr. Monster fancies his 4th position back. Indeed he does. let's get Monster Munch racing in here and have a real battle of the Titans. And look at poor old Bracalo, he's going to have a go at Brewster down and Hoekstra as well. He has the pair of them down into turn 1 and goes from 6th to 4th in one fell swoop. Muru is still ahead of Wenzel, and Newis now down to 9. Then Joseph, Dixon, Hans-Peter Mead, McLaughlin, Stanky Vicious. Ben Walters has been off the track as well in the last corner, I believe, and has dropped again down into 15th and last position. And Newis has just retaken Wenzel for 8th and 9th as the field start to try and settle down, but Reinu Muru is being caught by the Tyrant Motorsport Sim & Skins drivers. Palm just needs to have as least people between him as possible, as Stanky Vicious has just got around McLaughlin for 13th and 14th as the field then continue onto the back straight. Down they go. Muru, Spolaric, Palm, Bracalo, Hoekstra, Brewster. Got Randy Muru for company. Brewster all four wheels locking into the final corner. And Bracalo running a little bit wide there in the final turn. Not as wide as Thomas Aniuis though, who's now going to be under pressure, but Randy Muru is going to have a go at Brewster too. It's all kicking off here down into turn 1. Muru diving through, Brewster holding on round the outside, a little bit of leaning, but he's through, and Aniuis is through on Wenzel to hold his position. Wenzel looked quite decisive going back through, and Hans-Peter Mead takes Miles Dixon for 12, and that's Stanky Vicious having half a go. This is where he went off last race, and that's what McLaughlin's doing in the background. Into the barriers. Lee McLaughlin out of the race because he's lost a wheel. And that's crucial there for the TSA Dice team, because that may affect their 3rd position overall, as Hoekstra and Muru side by side for 5th and 6th, and so is Muru and Spolaric for the lead. My goodness me, Spolaric trying to go round the outside, didn't work, so now he's taking stock and having another go down into the next corner, as Randy Muru has got round Hoekstra for 5th position. And there you can see Muru and Spolaric, Palm, Bracalo. 2 by 2, Noah's up, but Spolaric's not waiting to board the plane. He's going for it as he crosses the line to start lap 6, and he's already through before they get down to turn 1. Such is the momentum he had there, and Bracalo's going around the outside of Palm. Can he hold it? No! Oh my goodness me, synchronised drifting out from turn 1. And look at Muru, he's retaken Spolaric for the lead. He's going for it, he's got it! My goodness me! There's more spunk going on here than there is in some kind of fertility clinic as they come round into the hairpin. Let's see what's going on as they hit the banked hairpin. Brewster under attack from Aniuis, who nearly steered right into the back of him for 7 and 8. That's not helping at all. So Spolaric, Muru, Palm retaking 3rd position from Bracalo. Muru, Hoekstra. They're your top 6 for the time being. As who is that? Oh, that's Aniuis. And that's going to be the barrier, my friend. Yes, it is P11. That was a silly move, because it was really last of the late breakers to try and keep Wenzel behind. And just, yeah, bizarre. Forgot to turn, I think. So he's really got going again in 11th, and that's him a little bit wrong-footed for the time being as the leading quartet come along. And this looks like it's time for Bracalo to have half a sniff. Already sees it. Feigns a look. But he's very much limited by what Reinu Muru is doing, who was leading, now starting to fall away from Spolaric, who once again, this is where he needed to be. He is done. You can't take it away from him. He's put not a jot wrong here this evening. As Palm running off! Bracalo goes through, he's up into 3rd, but there's contact. What can Palm do? Is he going to retake the position? Indeed he does. Bracalo a wee bit wrong-footed coming out because he just tapped the rear left of Muru. Can Palm have the pair of them? If he dives through on Reinu, which he does, takes the position quite decisively. I don't think Reinu will be able to get through there, especially because Bracalo is now side by side with him and trying to follow through. This is going to be perfect stuff for Martin Palm. What is Bracalo going to do? Is he steaming through? Is Palm going to end up involved in this one too? Look at how tight it is. Bracalo comes steaming out from 3rd position, taking it away. Good move there. Tight and decisive. Tighter than some Simon Cowell's trousers as they come steaming down to the first corner. And Ruiz going through, but he's going to hit Palm! Palm goes 4-wheel drifting. This is all going to be championship related. Bracalo goes through, takes second position, and this is the problem you face. Your destiny is not always your own, and Randumuru then takes teammate and brother Reinu for 4th and 5th position. Let those two collect each other, otherwise there will be drama. Ben Walters just taking Miles Dixon for 13th and 14th off your screens too. But Borna, they're 2.2 clear of this complete and utter cluster of cars. What can Bracalo do? Is he starting to pull away? It does look slightly like it, because Palm's busy now having to deal with Randumuru. And that's a car, once again, between himself and Spoljaric. Not quite the 20 points, although it's looking like being 17 that he'll need, because he's got the fastest lap so far. If he can keep that, Palm immediately to the inside and says no, 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 as he comes out of the final turn. And the two old TTFs going through, and a good valid point there raised by Simon Melhuish, my cameraman extraordinaire. He's going to have High Climbers awards potentially, because he's started 10th and is already up into the lead. So that's another 3 points for High Climbers, as the only 9 motorsports cars need collecting each other down to turn 1. So he only needs 14 points. So Simon wondering if he'd pass GCSE maths or not as they come through. Miles Dixon retakes Ben Walters for the wooden spoon position. Good move there by the other Cookie Monster Racing drivers. And Mirko Wenzel is just been retaken by Hans-Peter Mead for 8th and 9th. So it's all kicking off, still going on, and Stanky Vicious just getting round Dan Lewis for 11th position. So the scores on the doors, please Mrs. Hawes, as Bracalo gets very leery out of the second to last corner, is that Martin Palm can afford to drop down to 7th position, which means that he can let, in theory, both Murus through. Now Palm will not be thinking that, as no racer really does. And that's why we are racers, sim or otherwise, because we love our racing, and that's exactly what Randumuru is going to have a go at doing, as is Palm on Bracalo, who's at a torrid exit out of the final turn. Palm goes to the outside. That's going to gift Muru the position potentially if he gets it wrong, and he's a little bit slidey. Muru on the inside, and Palm is going to be truffled down, just call him Chunk, and indeed he does. Down to 4th position he goes. That's not helped him out at all, but he's got the buffer. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. Ben Walters retakes Miles Dixon again. Those two are swapping around like they've thrown keys in the middle of an ashtray in a room full of strangers. Once again, out of the corners, and it's Bracalo versus Muru down the back, one of the many back straights. There's two. Bracalo has the inside line. Muru pushed off to the outside. Palm steaming through aggressively, but it'll do for now. Who's that changing position? That's Paul Joseph dropping down to 12th position as Stanky Vicious and Ineos both go through. Bracalo holds it on for now. Randumuru all over the back. Martin Palm the best exit of the three, and that could put him in prime meat position. Start of lap 11 or 15. So we go for third. It's a closely fought one, as it always is here on GRC, and we're going to be going right the way down to the wire. We don't do things by halves. Who's that in trouble? That's Mirko Wenzel down to 12th. He's obviously had a bit of an off-ski. Joseph, they're just going through, so that's Aneris up to 9, Mead to 8, Stanky Vicious now to 8th position. Cameron Brewster behind Whoopke Hoekstra in 6th and 7th. Those two had in their own little squabble, because they've been dropped by this lead quintet. 4 of those have been dropped by Spoljaric. 3.4 seconds the advantage that Spoljaric has. He rounds to complete lap 11 and 15 and start his 12th. Bracalo feeling the need once again to go defensive. Muru will be cross-eyed, if not boss-eyed, by the end of this, because he's busy looking ahead and behind for Bracalo and Palm. Rainy Muru a bit of a tardy lap that one. He's dropped off slightly. And here comes Muru round the outside. Bracalo feeling the need to go so aggressively defensive that he was a bit wrong-footed on the exit there. And look at Muru having half a sneaky, cheeky, little cheeky, chappy look. But around these S's, there's very little room for manoeuvre. And you can kind of porcupine it as much as you want. It's Hans-Peter Mead off the track in 10th position. Lee McLaughlin, oh no, he's already crashed out, so he's just leaving the game. But yeah, Hans-Peter Mead off the track. That's allowed Aneus up to 9th. That will do. And a wee bit desperate down towards the rear end of the field. It's going to get very desperate down soon. Yeah, Marco Wenzel just retakes 11th from Paul Joseph. Around the outside as well. Good move there by Marco. Shame it's been a wee bit mowing the grass. Bracalo out wide in the last turn. It looks like he may well have got away with that one. Muro and Palm. Like magnets, half of these guys. They've spent most of the season together, and that does mean as Muro goes round once again. Randy Muro. Drama for the Muros. And that was an unforced error. He wasn't tapped, he just went in too deep. And the 2TFR driver drops down to 5th position, Palm up to 3rd. That has really helped because Reinu Muru appeared to be a bit more wrong-footed in that than Martin Palm specifically. He's now got a 1.7 second advantage. Suddenly, it's almost like you can see the steam pouring off the back of the shoulders of the American driver. He's just thinking, thank God for that. Tension over, at least for the time being. Hoekstra and Brewster still battling over 6th and 7th. Great drives by Whoopke Hoekstra particularly, and Brewster. They're being caught by Stankiewicz hand over fist though, so they've got to be careful because they'll be caught before the end of the lap, or before the end of the race. Spoljaric crosses the line, 2 to go. Well, it won't be through want of trying that Borna Spoljaric will be denied the victory here today, and the victory of the championship at least. For it were not for an altercation of drama. Who's that changing position? That's Stankiewicz through on 7th position. On Brewster down the inside into turn 1. Nice clean move. Well done, Andreas. The TMO Osiris. It's been a display really from both Spoljaric and Palm. They've had very much the class, been the class of the field all the way up until the last round, where unfortunately a few little incidents did not help Spoljaric and he was eliminated from one of the rounds. He's came out here today admittedly with half the weight of what Palm has and put out an absolute class performance to show, do you know what, this could well have been mine as well. Either of them would have been absolutely fantastic people to take home the crown, both more than deserving. And it really was always going to be down to how people dealt with this round 3, I think. Because rounds 1 and 2, everyone's so closely matched that there's very little to deal with. So the online motorsport cars have a wee little shindig for the top Lexi position. And for a top 10 place as well. Not really worked out for the online motorsport guys here for round 3. Spoljaric is going to take the honours, providing he makes it round these last couple of corners. Bracalo in 2nd position. A very worthy bronze medalist in the old championship positions. Don't take it away from him. 4 wins. More than what Spoljaric has. At least until today. Spoljaric goes and spoils himself with a trio. Martin Palm though with 6 wins. He's made it count, and it's been the wins that have done it. And 14 podiums against Spoljaric's 10. Spoljaric takes the win for the final round here of GRC Season 13. Bracalo takes 2nd, and it's the championship for Martin Palm for Division 1. Stupendous stuff there for the Torrent Motorsport Simmons Skins driver. A real class act. Both deserved it. But great stuff, he will be delighted. The rest of the fields as they come through. Reinu Muru ahead of Randu for 4 and 5. Stankiewicz grabbed 6th on the last lap from Whoopke Hoekstra by 0.05 of a second. That was a do or die. Brewster comes home 8th, so I think he'll be pleased with that. Aneus 9 for Art Kart. Hans-Peter Mead 10, Paul Joseph 11, got round Mirko Wenzel on the last lap. Wenzel in more trouble. Ben Walters then was 13th and scores points, and I believe that will be enough to take the TSA Dice team to 3rd in the Constructors for Division 2. Miles Dixon retired with 3 laps to go. Lee McLaughlin crashed out after just 4 laps. And that's your lot here. So, Division 1 winner, Martin Palm. 2nd, Borna Spoljaric. 3rd, Ilja Bracalo. Division 2 standings, 1st, Paul Joseph. 2nd, Cameron Brewster. 3rd, Lee McLaughlin. Some fantastic driving, as we've seen all season. Some absolutely stupendous racing. A few brain fade moments. A few real gasps. And the last lap of Bahrain, pant-wettingly funny. Showing us exactly why we love to sim race, why we love the community, and why basically we all come here and enjoy our time together. So that just about leaves it for me to wrap it all up here for another season here. If you fancy joining in and becoming part of the action, which I secretly know you do, come along to rfgrc.co.uk, sign yourself up on League Control and on the forums, get yourself sorted, get yourself all clued up, get yourself damn well out on track. Thanks to Simon Hoish for cameras here, thanks to the wonders that are PSR, oh my goodness me, oh! Simrace.tv, Simon. Well, there had to be a faux po here somewhere, didn't there? And my name is Simon Smith. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you this season. I'm sure we'll be back for season 14 at some point in the very near future soon. You lot will take care of yourselves. Have a good summer. See you soon.